Hey yo, what is going on, viewers of the tube? My name is Tyler and welcome to the channel you come to for content that isn't all fluffed up like the others.
Oh yeah! Oh yeah! Pattern! Oh yeah! Pattern!
Clyde, a modicum of professionalism would be nice.
I'm proud of the work I've done with Clyde. People don't realize that a porn star is only as good as the fluffer who services him.
We take the lead role. You know our raw dog. It's time for Chico Crypto. Well, this video is most likely going to be posted on Monday, and I am shooting this on Friday, so I'm going to attempt some predictive TA. No, not technical analysis, but the astrological based on the stars Tyler analysis, which is proving to be better than those so-called TA pro YouTubers. Pulling out the 7-day chart, the downward slip began on Monday, the 18th, dropping below 8,500. By the 20th, Wednesday, it dropped to 8,200. Thursday night, it dipped to 7,600, and then by Friday, we broke 7K support for a second before rebounding right back over to 7,300 as of Friday afternoon. Now, most of you know, thanks to Angelo BTC, we have been eyeing that 6K bottom for this bearish cycle. Although in between 5K to 7K is our major accumulation zone, as there is no guarantee it will get exactly to his predicted number of 6K. It may end up at 6,500 as a low, or even a low of 5K. It's hard to predict exactly, but if today Bitcoin is in between this level, heavy accumulation is happening. But over the weekend, I would expect a pump, as bearish attitude has taken over in all forms of public sentiment. YouTubers, including myself, calling for Bitcoin to go down. Although I don't tell my followers to get on Bybit or BitMEX and go short, which I'm sure many of those influenced are doing over the weekend. The long squeeze happened over Thursday and Friday, and 24 liquidations on BitMEX topped 74 million Friday morning. Thus, over the weekend, the short squeeze will happen once all social media influencers get their followers' leverage trades set. Thus, I'm going out on a limb and saying a pump over the weekend to 7,800, which created a see me gap that is getting filled today. Will I be correct?
You lose! Good day, sir!
See, I like to be held accountable for my predictions instead of posting every single possibility the day before, then when it happens, just cutting that clip into tomorrow's footage and being like, look guys, I called it. This was live, this was a prediction 3 days in advance. But like mentioned in my video posted last Thursday, I am accumulating 3 altcoins heavily, no matter if it's bearish or bullish: iExec, Enigma, and Chainlink. One thing that connects all these projects back together is the number 2 crypto by market cap, the granddaddy of smart contracts, Ethereum. And there has been so much FUD being thrown around that the base layer of Ethereum can't scale. It's stuck to 10 to 15 transactions per second, and there's no increasing that in sight, not until at least 2021. Oh, really? December 4th is a major Hardfork upgrade, Istanbul. I've mentioned the Ethereum Improvement Proposal's EIPs getting implemented before, but the ones regarding scaling of Ethereum, EIP 1108 and EIP 2028, both make ZK snarks or ZK snarks and starks cheaper, allowing for cheaper scaling and privacy applications to be built and increasing throughput. But as we can see in EIP 1108, it says C Matter Labs, Aztec, Rollup, and others for example. Yes, what people don't realize with Istanbul, Ethereum will be able to scale to 500 TPS, all while not sacrificing a single drop of decentralization. Eat your heart out, Tron or any Ethereum competitor. What we need to focus on is the Rollup example. Now, Vitalik last week on November 19th tweeted this: account abstraction, first class smart contract wallets, Casper proof of stake, resource sufficient light clients, Optimistic Rollup, 3,000 plus TPS post Istanbul, non-interactive ZKPs for privacy and scalability, your staking will be rewarded, much more TPS post sharding. So a little closer to what we need to focus on is Optimistic Rollup. What in the fuzzle is that? Well, there's a great Medium article included in the description from Alex Gakowski, written earlier this month, about two big scaling improvements coming to Ethereum: Optimistic Rollup versus ZK Rollup, which the author is working on ZK, but gives a good summary of Optimistic. I also got some of this information from Carl Florsch's Medium article, Ethereum Smart Contracts in L2, Optimistic Rollup, also included below for those who like to deep dive. So Optimistic Rollup can be considered the layer 1 of layer 2s and was officially released by Plasma Group and Uniswap at DevCon this year. Carl Florsch presented it, fully functioning with running smart contracts integrated with Uniswap. Yes, Plasma Group as a Plasma L2 scaling solution, essentially Ethereum's version of the Lightning Network. Many groups have been working on Plasma scaling solutions, including Plasma Group, but the implementations were so varied it has been difficult for the Ethereum community to keep track of what was really going on. Well, Plasma Group took to this in July and released something major the crypto community didn't take note of: the Optimistic Virtual Machine, OVM. Jinglan Wang, executive director of Plasma Group, said this about the OVM. We realized throughout doing all this Plasma research that most layer 2 constructions actually have a lot of overlapping architecture. So rather than reinventing the wheel each time, we thought it made sense to create an abstraction, formalize it in logic, and provide really clean shared infrastructure and security models for everyone to use. Basically, the OVM is able to run different layer 2 solutions, data, and code, like Plasma, Optimistic Rollup, and state channels. Proof of concepts for each have been developed over the past 9 months, but Optimistic Rollup is the one getting the major look from everyone in the space as Istanbul goes live. So what is a rollup? It's not the fruity type. It's basically a layer 2 solution similar to Plasma. Actually, Optimistic and Plasma share 80% the same infrastructure in the OVM. Optimistic is a single main chain contract, aka smart, that holds all the funds and a cryptographic commitment to a larger sidechain state, usually a Merkle tree of accounts, balances, and their state. The sidechain state is maintained by users and operators off-chain without reliance on layer 1 storage. Although unlike Plasma and its data availability restrictions, some data for each transaction in Rollup is published via transaction called data, which is way cheaper than Ethereum layer 1 storage and computation. So kind of think of it as scaling by putting data, which relates to critical things, on-chain, while less critical computations can be put off-chain. Vitalik has been very supportive of Optimistic, tweeting and presenting about it more than a few times. But like I mentioned earlier, there are two types of rollups: Optimistic, which I have been talking about, and ZK Rollup, which involves ZK snarks. And Vitalik has been quoted saying this about ZK scaling solutions. In a nutshell, these solutions keep account of movements of funds deposited in a smart contract through snarks by creating many sidechains of sorts, with the end result being a compression of transactions by kind of bundling them in these sidechain blocks, which translates to some data/bytes being stored on-chain, but far less than a plain transaction. This application of snarks or starks to scalability has come to light only this year, with it potentially a solution, especially in the back end, as conceptually it could perhaps develop to the point you just copy-paste some lines of code and so incorporate it into your DApp. So how many TPS is Ethereum going to get from each of these rollups? Right after Istanbul, like right after, with the EIPs, it will be 100 TPS from Optimistic. This figure could increase with further developments like BLS signature aggregation, pushing it to 500 TPS by January 2020. ZK Rollup is a bit more sophisticated tech, and today it can only be used on the mainnet for token transfers. But it will take a bit longer to implement general purpose smart contracts and wrapping the EVM and zero-knowledge proofs. With Istanbul upgrade, ZK Rollup will be able to do over 2,140 TPS for just token transfers. And that is why I have been focusing my eyes on Enigma and their layer 2 Ethereum not only privacy, but scaling layer 2. Back in September, Enigma demonstrated the Salad Mixer, a coin mixer built using their data privacy and randomness generation. The cost of this, with the upcoming Istanbul fork, just 250,000 gas, which is about the same as a Kyber swap transaction. And their aim is to take a third-party integration approach, like Kyber, becoming an integral part of privacy in DeFi. And then at EthWaterloo, Ethereum's biggest annual hackathon, Enigma got some major attention. At the hackathon, a project built with Enigma tech won the prize. Here's a team showing off the win and their build, RubberHose. What RubberHose accomplished was partitioning the storage space of Enigma secret contract so that different passwords can unlock different sections of a secret contract storage. The RubberHose name is a situation where a user is kidnapped and forced to give up their password. Although kidnapping situations with crypto is a huge case for this, it is also a major enterprise use case, as things can now be opened, but other sensitive data can still be concealed, like pictures and more. But that wasn't it. Many teams built with Enigma during Waterloo. Over 14 developers and 5 projects submitted hacks for judging, or 10% of the teams. Impressive, and I think it's only the start for this one. Cheers, viewers. I'll see you next time.